All right. Hello. It's Brendan here. Beautiful day at the homestead. There's my trailer. There's my living teepee shade thing. I'm doing a lot of Hugulkultur, so I'm going to show you how to do some branching Hugulkultur. Kind of a lasagna bed sort of thing, sheet mulching, so you could call it Hugulzanya sheeting or something. Anyway, this is a living compost pile I made, basically using this method of piling branches and layering dirt on there, but sort of made a web of branches in a U-shaped pattern. And then I've put my food compost in the middle of it with some dirt. Come in here, turn it over to keep it going. I've piled it up sort of toward the sides. One thing I noticed about this method, it sort of suspends the dirt up here until it's nice and saturated and starting to compost. You'll get lots of air gaps and stuff here. So I put the compost over here kind of in a way of keeping the moisture in there, kind of seals it up better. So this is actually living. It's got peas, corn going right now. Some other stuff hasn't come up yet, but I'm barely watering it, and this is what it's doing really. I've got my little, these are little mini ponds I've made with my recyclables in an attempt to kind of encourage more water to fix in the location. And sometimes I put grass in these, and sometimes it thrives and sometimes it doesn't. But if you notice, some other things do like it, and that's the point. You give it a bunch of seed, you give it everything to work with, and yeah, nature takes care of things. Thanks, Toby. All right, so on to how to do this. Now I started to cut into the ground here, just behind this, kind of on the northern side of this pile of brush and leaves. Came from over there, by the way. That's where some of my good dirt's going to come from. And that way it makes like a little pond. I get 2 for 1. I get to dig a pond and a place for water to stay during the wet season and maybe longer. Some of it, it's not completely exposed to the sun all day, but some of it, you know, for the latter part of the day, and that might give it a chance to keep the water, but allow some cattails and stuff to grow if it gets bigger. And I get some free dirt out of the deal. Now, if you notice me breathing kind of heavy, it's just because I did like a 15-minute marathon. Now, notice the hole's gotten quite a bit deeper. The reason for this placement right in the middle is you can still walk over here, get your stuff, and not fall into the pond. It's about 2 or 3 feet across, which is, you know, roughly reachable. Yeah, so kind of take in and spread the sod out here, kind of make a net on which to catch the dirt, because I've done this a couple of times now. And I notice if you just put dirt from down there right on here, it just falls through. That's great if you want to slowly build it up, but you know, we're looking to get this done and also set this up as some habitat space. Forgot to mention, there's a toad there, there's a garter snake there, there's voles all through this. It makes habitat for slugs and stuff, but also makes habitat for their predators. So we got the ecosystem thing going on, and touch base in a sec. All right, so here we have a roughly deep enough pond. Kind of made some marginal fringes like this hand branching pattern coming out here. This way you can still come in and harvest, and then, you know, you've also got all this marginal wetland area for during and after the wet season to harvest. You know, you're like miner's lettuce, watercress, you know, maybe even nettle or something like that. I put nettle in there maybe to help protect from the deer, because they got all this forage, all of this, and I let them have access to whatever I have, if they can get past the roses, that is. Okay, so I'm gonna start getting dirt from over yonder, the nice dirt from under the brush pile that created this, and I'll check in with you in a bit. All right, so here I've got this kind of would-be pond. Seems destined to be a pond. I've taken the topsoil layer from underneath the big pile of decomposing branches and so forth, and this top layer, if you notice, is riven with clods of nice worm dirt and, you know, sort of, what is the word, pelletized earth that's indicative of having been chomped up by worms. So that's good stuff. It's been enriched with toad droppings and bird droppings and vole droppings. Actually, we found a vole in here instead of juvenile voles, and most of them got eaten by a dog before we saved the final one. It ended up passing away, unfortunately, because the kids brought it out on the grass at the laundromat, where they use fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and lificides, and the bull died. It was thriving. Anyway, en route to the conclusion here, this is where I get the top level of dirt, probably like the first 4 inches or so, beneath which is more gravelly, more sandy, that kind of thing, which is good for structural things. But when I'm doing planting beds, it's this stuff. Talk to you later. All right, now we've kind of covered the front for the most part with some nice topsoil, sod and that kind of thing. I've allowed thistles, I've allowed ecosidium, I've allowed the living plants from where this dirt came from, because I figure they're full of the minerals and stuff that mine need. These thistles are miners, right? So they will be there, and they'll also set up the webbing sort of net that suspends the dirt and stuff, and if I have to take them out again, so be it. But I'd rather actually just lob off their tops and use their pokey leaves as mulch, even if it's pokey, because it's dang mineral rich. You know, if anybody has any ideas for how to better process thistles into green mulch or compost, let me know. So now I'm gonna go get some leaves from the forest. Woohoo, forest walk. So here's the forest. There's the river over there. Well, it's kind of a tributary or a irrigational bypass. I don't know. The main river is way over there at the edge of the property. Most of the property is river. Here we are at the trail, and you notice where I haven't taken leaves and where I have taken leaves. I mean, you know, I'm letting the forest keep its leaves where it needs it, but just taking it off of the forest path, there's more than enough. So I'll get to it. Now I am basically just kind of hunting the leaf litter and scraping up leaves where available, and I'm even taking little tree babies, little shrubs, stuff like that, you know. If it, may seem cruel, but I'm kind of throwing it in the mix together. If it becomes mulch and webbing only and organic matter only, so be it. And if it survives, great. I've tried to take these and replant them, and I haven't been so successful yet. But maybe they'll thrive if they're kind of buried first and mimic the process of nature and its disturbances, like a flood or something like that. Things get picked up and redeposited, and often buried, not just propped up by some hominid. Anywho, just trying to work things out. I don't mind ivy, English ivy. I know it's invasive. I would call it an opportunist, right? And then I think it helps. Found the ivy in a lot of areas with lots of pollution, so it seems like it might be good for taking carbon out of the air. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Hopefully it won't live, but I'd rather have it in my garden than in the forest taking over the trees, you know? So if I find it, I don't want to kill it. I'm not heartless. And it looks good. So it's a potted plant, or, you know, might help with a hedgerow or something. And I know how to keep it under control. Anyway, this is my process for gathering leaves, crushing it down. I'll let you know more later. So 3 good layers of forest leaves, kind of looks like that. Looks good. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cover some of this with dirt. I don't have a lot of water on site, and I don't want these to fly away, so I'm going to put some dirt, and that will make a nice little mix. I'm not going to put lots of dirt, just enough to kind of pin it down and make a nice mimic of what kind of happens as this decomposes in the forest floor, and go from there. That a towhee, oh, there he goes, just landed on here. He's a popular favorite over there at the Hugul compost pile, and they I don't know if they nest in here or what, but they kind of pop in and out here. You can see them in the afternoon just sort of rustling around, and they love it. And lots of creatures love it. So here you have the completed product, and you have a pond that kind of caverns in under there. It's nicely protected and shaded. You get 2 ponds for the price of 1, and 1 awesome Hugulkultur bed, and it's already going. It's a little bit twiggy and sticky, but that is on purpose, partially. Started as an accident, but it ends up being really awesome perch for birds. This was all rich with guano down here before I put the stuff here, but this brush pile was already getting loaded up with guano, because the robins like to sit up there and hunt, do their ambush thing, check out for sign of other robins, worms, and stuff like that. And this is habitat, food production, water storage, energy storage, and the whole 9 yards. I love it. I hope you like it. Have a great day.